Scientific research has been one of the great drivers of progress in human history, and the dramatic changes we have seen during the past century are due primarily to scientific findings. Modern medicine, electronics, automobiles and jets, birth control, and a host of other helpful inventions. Psychologists believe that scientific methods can be used in the behavioral domain to understand and improve the world. Although psychology trails the biological and physical sciences in terms of progress, we are optimistic based on discoveries to date that scientific psychology will make many important discoveries that can benefit humanity. This module outlines the characteristics of the science and the promises it holds for understanding behavior. The ethics that guide psychological research are briefly described. It concludes with the reasons you should learn about scientific psychology. Scientific advances and world progress. There are many people who have made positive contributions to humanity in modern times. Take a careful look at the names on the following list. Which of these individuals do you think has helped humanity the most? Mother Teresa, Albert Schweitzer, Edward Jenner, Norman Borlaug, Fritz Haber. The usual response to this question is, who on earth are Jenner, Borlaug, and Haber? Many people know that Mother Teresa helped thousands of people living in the slums of Calcutta. Others recall that Albert Schweitzer opened his famous hospital in Africa and went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize. The other three historical figures, on the other hand, are far less well known. Jenner, Borlaug, and Haber were scientists whose research discoveries saved millions and even billions of lives. Dr. Edward Jenner is often considered the father of immunology because he was among the first to conceive of and test vaccinations. His pioneering work led directly to the eradication of smallpox. Many other diseases have been greatly reduced because of vaccines discovered using science. Measles, pertussis, diphtheria, tetanus, typhoid, cholera, polio, hepatitis, and all are the legacy of Jenner. Fritz Haber and Norman Borlaug saved more than 1 billion human lives. They created the Green Revolution by producing hybrid agricultural crops and synthetic fertilizer. Humanity can now produce food for the 7 billion people on the planet, and the starvation that does occur is related to political and economic factors rather than our collective ability to produce food. If you examine major social and technological changes over the past century, most of them can be directly attributed to science. The world in 1914 was very different than the one we see today. There were few cars, and most people traveled by foot, horseback, or carriage. There were no radios, televisions, birth control pills, artificial hearts, or antibiotics. Only a small portion of the world had telephones, refrigeration, or electricity. These days, we find that 80% of all households have television, and 84% have electricity. It is estimated that 3/4 of the world's population has access to a mobile phone. Life expectancy was 47 years in 1900 and 79 years in 2010. The percentage of hungry and malnourished people in the world has dropped substantially across the globe. Even average levels of IQ have risen dramatically over the past century due to better nutrition and schooling. All of these medical advances and technological innovations are the direct result of scientific research and understanding. In the modern age, it is easy to grow complacent about the advances of science, but make no mistake about it. Science has made fantastic discoveries and continues to do so. These discoveries have completely changed our world. What is science? What is this process we call science, which has so dramatically changed the world? Ancient people were more likely to believe in magical and supernatural explanations for natural phenomena, such as solar eclipses or thunderstorms. By contrast, scientifically minded people try to figure out the natural world through testing and observation. Specifically, science is the use of systematic observation in order to acquire knowledge. For example, children in a science class might combine vinegar and baking soda to observe the bubbly chemical reaction. These empirical methods are wonderful ways to learn about the physical and biological world. Science is not magic. It will not solve all human problems and might not answer all our questions about behavior. Nevertheless, it appears to be the most powerful method we have for acquiring knowledge about the observable world. The essential elements of science are as follows. Systematic observation is the core of science. Scientists observe the world in a very organized way. We often measure the phenomenon we are observing. We record our observations so that memory biases are less likely to enter into our conclusions. We are systematic in that we try to observe under controlled conditions, and also systematically vary the conditions of our observations so that we can see variations in the phenomena and understand when they occur and do not occur. Observation leads to hypotheses we can test. When we develop hypotheses and theories, we state them in a way that can be tested. For example, you might make the claim that candles made of paraffin wax burn more slowly than do candles of the exact same size and shape made from beeswax. This claim can be readily tested by timing the burning speed of candles made from these materials. Science is democratic. People in ancient times may have been willing to accept the views of their kings or pharaohs as absolute truth. These days, however, people are more likely to want to be able to form their own opinions and debate conclusions. Scientists are skeptical and have open discussions about their observations and theories. These debates often occur as scientists publish competing findings with the idea that the best data will win the argument. Science is cumulative. We can learn the important truths discovered by earlier scientists and build on them. Any physics student today knows more about physics than Sir Isaac Newton did, even though Newton was possibly the most brilliant physicist of all time. A crucial aspect of scientific progress is that after we learn of earlier advances, we can build upon them and move farther along the path of knowledge.